Thanks for joining us. This is Aso Television News. I am Holina Adojo. The headlines. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory takes steps to address security challenges. Federal Capital Territory Department of Development Control to commence cleanup exercise of all motor parks. On business, Budget and Economic Planning Ministry inaugurates committee to tackle food security. And now the news in details. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is presiding over the first Federal Executive Council meeting of the year 2024 at the Council Chambers of the State House, Abuja. The meeting, which commenced at around 12:50 p.m. on Wednesday, January 17th, is being attended by all members of the cabinet. In attendance are the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, Head of Service of the Federation, Afolashade Yemieshon, Chief of Staff to the President, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, and the National Security Advisor, No Ribadu. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, is today holding a town hall meeting with residents of Buhari Area Council over the incessant kidnapping and killing in the area. A former senator who represented FCT, Philip Tenimu Aduda, the Buhari Council of Chiefs, security agencies and officials of the area council are also part of the meeting. Recall that public outcry had trailed reports of the death of Nabia Al-Qadiriya, who was kidnapped along with 22 others in the Buhari area council of the FCT, and a 13-year-old Folashade Ario, who was kidnapped alongside 11 others, among whom were 3 of her siblings and their mother at the Sangwari Estate layout in Duse Alaji area of Abuja. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has assured that the administration is taking steps to address security challenges affecting some sections of the FCT. The minister gave the assurance while addressing journalists before a closed-door emergency security meeting in Abuja.
All of us are aware of the security situation in the Federal Capital Territory, particularly Buhari and some other areas that were witnessed security challenges. Yes, I'm aware that sometimes too the press overblow what is happening. But all of us are concerned as the Federal Capital Territory that houses virtually every Nigerian. We owe a duty to make sure that this place is safe. We'll do all we can, and we're sure Nigerians who reside here that there's no need for panic.
The minister explained that the meeting was to look into the security challenges and find practical ways to address them. He added that all the chairmen of the area councils were invited for the meeting, as they also have a responsibility in their various councils.
And that's why we invited all the council chairmen, because they also have a responsibility in their various area councils. So I put our head together and come up with solutions. So for the press, it's just for you to know that we are not sleeping. Security agencies are also not sleeping. We provide every support that they require in order to allay the fears of the citizens.
That was Barrister Nyesom Wike, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has described former President Muhammadu Buhari as a real Democrat who served the nation with dedication and commitment. The president was speaking at the public presentation of 2 books written in honor of President Buhari's tenure in office. President Tinubu says Buhari's legacy is worthy of emulation for true leadership. He commended former President Buhari for maintaining his principles of non-interference with the present administration. The president said President Buhari assumed office at a difficult time in Nigeria's security and economic growth, but still left behind a legacy to be emulated. Minister of State, Federal Capital Territory, Dr. Maria Mahmood, has underscored the need for evolution of the nation's educational system to identify and nurture diverse talents in academic excellence, leadership, arts, and innovation. A statement by the Minister's Special Advisor, Media, Mr. Austin Elemwe, said the minister was speaking as a special guest of honor at the Big Break Moment Africa Season 2, tagged Rep Your Campus, held at the International Conference Center, Abuja. Dr. Maria Mahmood also stressed that implementing comprehensive assessment methods and mentorship programs could help uncover hidden potentials. The minister was represented by the Director of Finance and Administration, Area Council Service Secretariat, Mrs. Omolola Olanikbeku. She highlighted the need for the educational system to foster an environment where the unique abilities of each student are acknowledged and cultivated. The minister, while commending the organizers for the initiative, pledged the administration's commitment to partnering genuine organizations who are willing to support the creative ability of talented students in Nigeria. On his part, the founder, the Big Break Moment Africa, Mr. Tayo Folorunsho, stated that the aim of the program is to provide young and budding talents a platform that showcase their abilities while also creating an avenue for personal and communal growth. The winner of the Big Break Moment Season 2 went home with a brand new car. The newly appointed Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education, Mrs. Didi Elsa Wilson-Jack, has officially assumed her duties. She was received at the ministry's headquarters by the director overseeing the office of the Permanent Secretary, Alhaji Zubairu Abdullahi, and other directors. In her address, Mrs. Wilson-Jack pledged to foster a culture of excellence and meritocracy within the ministry. She stressed the importance of maintaining truth, honesty, fairness, and justice in all operations.
In our modus operandi, let us acknowledge that our work is a sacred duty for God, the federal government, and the good people of Nigeria. Inefficiency and dereliction of duty impact lives directly. So we must use education to uplift every Nigerian to their full potential, contributing to a stronger, democratic, and indivisible nation under God. Our most significant duty is to provide the expertise and administrative framework, act as the engine room, and do all within our competence to support the political leadership of the Honorable Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, OON, SAN, the Honorable Minister of State, Honorable Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, and the federal government to achieve the mandate of the ministry for the people of Nigeria, as well as fulfill its international obligations.
Mrs. Jack further expressed enthusiasm about joining the Federal Ministry of Education, one of the ministries which she said has a nationwide mandate to prescribe and maintain uniform education standard throughout the country. Mrs. Wilson-Jack was first appointed as a permanent secretary in 2017 by the then President Muhammadu Buhari and has demonstrated exceptional leadership and commitment in various capacities, including a role as permanent secretary in the Service Welfare Office of the Head of Service of the Civil Service of the Federation, Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs, Federal Ministry of Power and Water Resources and Sanitation. The proliferation of illegal motor parks in Abuja is becoming a matter of concern to the FCT administration. To this end, the Department of Development Control has resolved to commence a cleanup exercise of all the motor parks in the nation's capital, as well as close down unauthorized ones. Usman Katun Umar reports.
Town planner Mukhtar Usman Galadima, who made this disclosure when he led his team on a sensitization tour of some motor parks in the city, said this move will eradicate many vices, including armed robbery, commonly called one chance.
Part of the effort to sanitize the Federal Capital City is to make sure that no illegal motor park on the road. So that's why we are trying to see that we sensitize the operators of this illegal motor park and tell them that we are giving them deadline to comply with our directives.
Dr. Peter Olumuji, Secretary, Command and Control Center, FCTA Department of Security Services, and Kakabello of the Abuja Environmental Protection Board, noted that if motor parks were not used for intended purposes, they would turn into areas harboring criminals who would cause insecurity in the territory.
If parks are not used for the purposes which is meant for, these criminal elements have come to take over those areas. Like we have drug. If you are looking for high concentration of illicit drugs, you find it here in Gogolada Park. You've seen some unregistered vehicles within this place. So the holistic clearance we are going to be carrying out will unplug all those vices from taking place within the city center, because the residents need to commute in a safe and secured transportation system.
As a responsible government, these parks have been provided in various parts of the city, and standards were given, and those standards are to improve on the quality of the environment. Unfortunately, the operators of this park have refused to operate these parks based on the standards, and that is why we are here to ensure these standards.
On his part, Yusuf Alabi, Chairman, FCT Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers, who pledged the support of his union, blamed the poor condition of the parks on the fact that they were handed to the wrong persons for management.
I am in charge of FCT Parks all, and in FCT plan there is no park. Here is not a park, it's a terminal registered by the FCT Transport Secretariat, and it is their primary responsibility when giving out a terminal like this. There are some guidelines that government separate down before you came in. I think they have mixed the guidelines. Otherwise, things like this could have not happened.
The union leadership therefore appealed to the FCTA to give the motor parks to the right persons who know how to manage them. Usman Katun Umar, Aso Television News.
You're watching Aso Television News. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, on StarTimes TV channel 127, and on Free TV channel 547. We're also on the UHF band on channel 38. Still to come in business, Budget and Economic Planning Ministry inaugurates steering committee to tackle food security. Stay with us for details of these and more stories after the break.
Oh dear residents of the FCT, the dry season is here again, a time when the Harmattan haze is intense and combustibles burn faster. So be responsible and take precautions. Stop bush burning. Stop the sale of gas in areas not approved for such purpose. Make sure you put off all electric appliances when leaving home or the office. Remember, fire is an obedient servant and a bad master, and has caused colossal damage to lives and property in our dear territory. Support FCT Emergency Management Agency today to prevent fire disaster. For any emergencies in the FCT, call FEMA on the 112 toll-free number or 080-5722-4574. FEMA, reducing disaster risk for a safe and happy FCT.
Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, says that national housing must be prioritized in the renewed hope vision of building $1 trillion economy. The minister made this known at the inauguration of 4 reform tax teams to reduce housing deficit in Nigeria. Here is the report. 4 new tax teams, namely the Housing Institution Tax Team, the Multi-Agency Project Delivery Team, the Land Reform Tax Team, and the Building Materials Manufacturing Hub Tax Team are made up of public and private professionals and stakeholders in the housing sector, charged with the responsibility of developing a comprehensive strategy, chart a roadmap, and also formulate policies that are inclusive, as well as stand the test of time in the quest for mass housing in the country. Inaugurating the team, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, noted that the country is still grappling with huge housing deficit despite policies and plans by previous government to close the gap, adding that obsolete housing laws has failed to deliver the housing needs for citizens. The minister said the reform tax team was carefully selected, urged members to make history and work diligently for the attainment of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The good news now is that our President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, recognized that to achieve renewed hope vision target of building $1 trillion economy, housing must be prioritized. This means undertaking comprehensive housing reform, sector reforms that will ensure that systemic and privilege issues that have caused underdevelopment are fixed. All legal impediments are removed and the institutional frameworks for housing agencies necessary to ensure that they deliver optimally on their mandates to deliver decent and affordable housing to Nigerians are reviewed and upgraded.
In a remark, the chairman of the Multi-Agency Project Delivery Tax Team, Brigadier General Tunde Rees, retired, whose terms of reference include developing a comprehensive strategy and roadmap to construct at least 50,000 houses yearly through multi-funding, says the team will deliver on its mandate.
So for a change, there are no excuses. We've got everything that we need to succeed, and I do hope that with the support of the members of this task team, the objectives of our committee will be achieved.
The reform tax team, which were charged to unlock the massive potentials of the housing sector for economic growth, is expected to submit its recommendations in 8 weeks. Hulina Adojo, Aso Television News. The National Emergency Management Agency Southwest Zonal Office says it received a distress alert of an explosion at about 7:30 p.m. at Bodija GRA behind Ace Mall, Ibadan. The zonal coordinator, in a swift reaction, mobilized response agencies to the scene of the explosion. On arrival, it was observed that the explosion was caused by a suspected IED, which affected over 20 houses. For now, casualty figures cannot be ascertained as search and rescue operation is still ongoing. The situation has been brought under control while arrangements are ongoing to ensure smooth operation. Meanwhile, a member of the House of Representatives from Oyo State, Mr. Stanley Adedeji, says only thorough investigation supported by corresponding action could forestall reoccurrence of the massive explosion that left some Nigerians dead, many others injured, and property destroyed on Tuesday in Ibadan. The member representing Ibadan Northwest Southwest Federal Constituency in the House, while briefing newsmen on Wednesday at the National Assembly, expressed sadness and described the incident as one too many. He commended the state governor's effort in swiftly identifying cause of the explosion and the first emergency responders. The member, in company of a colleague from Lagos State, Mr. Aliu Kuye, said the incident further exposed the need to revisit the issue of state policing and the dire need for the security agencies to control possession of weapons and storage.
Remember, we've also been talking about state police, we've been talking about community police. So I think, situation like this would actually present an urgency to the matter so that way we can get the right support that we need to pass whatever legislation that we need to. to pass for this. So definitely we're going to pick this up, and it's going to be in the front burner of the activity of the House as soon as we reconvene as a House. Also the control of explosive. If you have this kind of explosive that could do this much damage, so that means that this thing is relatively available in the hands of the wrong people. So we also have to look at how these things are stored, and so we're going to take a holistic approach to all of this. It's not going to be one of those things that will be done in a hurry to just quickly come to, I sympathize with my people from Oyo State, but not to be specific. May Almighty Allah, offer relief to the people who have lost their life.
I just want to further reiterate the position of my colleague that there is need for physical federalism, and that can lead us quickly to having state police. I believe that the president that we have has campaigned based on these promises, and I think and I know that he's going to work with the National Assembly to ensure that we have state police very, very soon.
Thank you very much.
National Assembly correspondent Rosemary Kokutega reports that the House awaits a comprehensive report from the affected state to enable it turn in appropriate relief support. The Steering Committee of the Nigerian COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus Care says it has successfully recorded 2 rounds of assessment by the independent verification agent and reimbursed all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu in Abuja, during the inauguration of the committee, pledged to maximize effective implementation of the program in all participating states across the nation. Business correspondent Ile Emeje has details.
In his remarks at the inauguration ceremony of the Steering Committee for Nigeria COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus (NGS Cares) in Abuja, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, noted objectives of the committee and members while inaugurating the committee.
The primary objective of this meeting is to inaugurate the Federal Cares Steering Committee meeting under the NG Cares program. And without wasting time, I will just announce that the members of the Federal Cares Steering Committee are the Honorable Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Honorable Minister, Industry, Trade and Investment, Honorable Minister, Women Affairs, Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Environment and Ecological Management, Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Education, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Labor and Employment, Permanent Secretary, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty, representing the Honorable Minister, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, Executive Director, Nigerian Governors Forum, as well as Director, Economic Growth and Chairman of the Federal Cares Technical Committee, as well as Secretary of this committee. So it is therefore my pleasure and honor to humbly, on behalf of the federal government, inaugurate the Federal Cares Steering Committee of the NG Cares program to the glory of God and advancement of the cause of poor and vulnerable Nigerians.
Senator Bagudu highlighted sources of funding.
One of the major sources of cheap funding for our 2024 budget is the undisbursed loans from the World Bank. So if we can accelerate, that is one source of funding for the federal and states. And the remarkable feature of the NG Cares program, states can decide to spend it in agriculture, in women affairs, in water resources, in environment, in training, NDE and whatever. So, and as well as okay, even though it's tangential to this issue. Secondly, and equally important, is the fact that most of these loans that are undisbursed come from the IDA. The World Bank give both international development, what is known as International Development Association loan, which is interest rate about 1%.
Other stakeholders, including the project coordinator, reiterated leadership quality of the federal government and the renewed hope agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration, while pledging more support.
There are already some indication of opportunity for this intervention. Moving already established very, very strong structures at the state level. We have, as we speak, we have 158 delivery platforms to call across all of the states and FCT, which are able very, very spectacular and well in delivering service to poor and vulnerable in the country. I want to say that the Honourable Minister is very much in support of this initiative because of the structure that we have built in all the states and FCT. So it is an ongoing discussion and progress, I'm sure a lot of progress is being made.
In the face of challenges of food insecurity, high cost of running businesses, poor purchasing power, and general uncertainty of life that the average Nigerian is grappling with on daily basis, the NGKS program is structured to positively intervene.
Ile Emeje.
Still on business, as part of plans to ensuring adequate compliance with insurance policies, the National Insurance Commission is soliciting support of the Nigerian police in the enforcement of compulsory insurance. The Commissioner for Insurance and Chief Executive Officer of NICOM, Mr. Sunday Olorundari Thomas, disclosed this when he led his management team on a courtesy visit to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, at the force headquarters in Abuja. According to the statement, the NICOM boss urged for a more robust ways of strengthening their collaboration in the areas of enforcement of compulsory insurance. Responding, the IGP of Police promised to work closely with the Commission to achieve its mandate of compliance with compulsory insurance to avert risks. He, however, appreciated NICOM for its determination, especially in the insurance of the Nigerian police force. And that's the bulletin. Before we go, let's take a look at one of our major stories. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, has assured residents of the FCT that the administration is taking steps to address security challenges affecting some sections. And that's the bulletin. I am Hulina Adojo. Thanks for watching.